Okay, welcome to Daily 3D Revolve. Today I'm going to be doing a Design Spark mechanical tutorial, and we're going to be going over the merge, no merge feature, and I'm going to show you why it's sometimes better to use that. So we're going to go ahead and create a new design, and we'll change this to plan view. I'm going to do this in inches, so if you want to follow along you can. We're going to go ahead and turn on our snap to grid. Go click here in the middle. We're going to make a 1.5 circle, and then we're going to put a line in the middle here. So we're going to do Control minus to shrink this down. We're going to put a line 2.25 in the middle. Then we're going to go ahead and right mouse click on that, set as mirror. Now we're going to grab this one, which is our tangent line tool, and we're going to click here, and we're going to drag that up to there. So we're going to drag it up 2.154 inches. We'll go ahead, and it's going to be an 80.3 degree. So we'll go ahead and click there, and then we're going to click select to click off. Now we're going to go ahead and get our create round, or is that 3-point arch? Yeah, 3-point arch. So we'll go endpoint to endpoint, and then we'll click right there, 160.5 and 0.380 inches. We'll go ahead and do that. Now we're going to grab the circle tool, and we're going to go from here. I'm going to go 0.25. Okay, so now we're going to come time to pull this piece. So we'll go to pull, and you notice everything turns this green color. So over here you have a feature that says you can add, you can subtract or cut, or you can no merge. Now if we want to go ahead and have each one of these separate pieces, we would click there, and we come over here and make sure that no merge is on, and then we'll go ahead and spin this, and then we'll go to pull. We'll pull from both sides, and then we're going to drag this out. Oh, I guess that's good there, 5.3 inches. Okay, so what it did here is it didn't merge it with this, so now we have a solid over here. So we're going to go ahead and right mouse click on that solid, and we're going to rename it, and we'll just call it shaft SH. We'll call it shaft 1. Okay, and I'll go ahead and click the select, or click. Okay, so now we have, if you want to highlight that, you just come over here and select it. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, now on this one, we'll do the same thing. Go up to pull. We'll select the piece. We'll come over here to no merge, and then we'll go ahead and click the pull from both sides. Now we're going to pull this 0. Let's go 0.5. Okay, so now you're going to have this one piece here that it didn't merge, so now it made another piece. So we're going to call this one, right mouse click, rename this, call it left side. Left side. Okay, now it makes it a lot easier to select these pieces if you want to move them. Like I want to move this. So if this was all merged together and you tried to click on it, it would select this as well. So it can be frustrating, especially if you're trying to move stuff. So you want to go ahead and click on the left side, go up to move, and now you can move it. So we'll go ahead and move this over 1.8. So we'll just type in 1.8. It just makes everything much more accurate. And now you go back up here. If you wanted to copy that piece, we would go click on the left side. We do Control C on the keyboard, Control paste, which Control C, Control V on the keyboard. We'll grab the blue, and then we'll move it over here. Now we're going to go ahead and spin this. And now if I still wanted to move that, let's go ahead and move both of these. So we'll go ahead and click on the left one. We'll go to move. We're going to move up to, so we can make these both even, up to there. Okay, now we're going to do the same over here. Spin this. We'll select this one here. We're going to rename that right side. Now we're going to go ahead and move up to, and we're going to go here. Okay, now we're going to move these a precise amount. So we'll go ahead and click the blue, and we'll come in 0.75. Okay, there's that one. And then this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move 0.75. Now both of these pieces are the same distance apart. And now if we want to go back and select each one of these, okay, this one's going to be, this should be right side here. So we're going to right mouse click, rename, and we're going to call this that right side. Now this is really how you should build models in Design Spark Mechanical, especially if they have a lot of pieces to them, because it's just much easier to select. Like if you wanted to move the shaft, you could go ahead and just click on it over here in the history, and then just move it. Now if you had allowed these to merge together, it would be hard to select this without selecting these. So it's just easier. And if you want to just move the left one, you just come over here and highlight the left one. If you want to move the right one, you could go ahead and do that. It just makes it much easier. And then you know, we can do stuff like, you could rename this piece here even if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and spin that. Let's go ahead and click on the middle there. Go to Pool. Once you go to Pool, this option is available too. So we go ahead and go No Merge, and then we'll do this from both sides. Okay, so now if you pull this, if you have a pin, say that's going through here, it's not going to merge. So now you have the shaft, you have the left side part, right side part, and now you have this new part here. So you could right mouse click on that, rename it. You could call it pin. Okay, now you got to move something. You just go ahead and select that, and you can move it. Move it anywhere out of the way. You could move it, you could extrude it longer if you wanted to. So now you got this piece here. It's made up of 4 different pieces, and none of them are associated with the other part. Just makes it easier to use. And if you're going to do changes, you could just click on one, do what you got to do, move, make it bigger. This one you can move independently of the other one. So if you did have to make adjustments down the road, like for example, if you created this part and they liked it and somebody said, well, unfortunately we have to move this piece up a quarter and move this one down a quarter, you'd be able to do that just coming over here, select the piece, go to move, and then start to move it up and type in 0.25. There's your move on that one, and then go select the one on the right, go to move, and then move it down 0.25. There's a move on that. Maybe they want this pen to be sized down, or maybe made a little bit bigger. You can go ahead and do all those changes, and it's not going to affect any of the other parts, which is nice. So this is really the way that's probably best to create parts if you're going to do them in Design Spark Mechanicals, especially if there's going to be a lot of them. Now, if you just have one part, maybe a plate with some holes in it, then obviously you don't have to do it this way. But if you have parts that you're going to associate with other things, like I'll give you an example. Well, like if we want to take that one and we want to do Control C on the keyboard and Control V, and then we want to move it, maybe over here. Let's just go 1.5. Now you have you have this one here that you could change. So these are all not associated with each other. You could put center now. You could go ahead and rename this and call it center. So now you have all these over here that are neatly labeled. Anytime you want to move one, you go ahead and just click on it. Doesn't affect the other one. Maybe you want to spin this one around. You go ahead and go to move, and then grab the blue one. You could spin it around, or you could actually change the anchor point. Get your anchor point and click on this green line here, and then you could go ahead and rotate this part around. Maybe you want to pull it over here. Now you have that piece over there. It just makes it a lot more easier to do stuff, especially if you have to make continual changes to stuff. This one will have to reset the center point. Yeah, it's just easier. If you had to move that to a specific point, you'd be able to do that. You could rotate it to a specific point, and then you could move that up to here. So it's easier. This stuff is individual now. It's not going to merge. And anytime that you're drawing something and you go to use the pull function, you're going to get that option, like right here. If we want to actually undo that, let's go back to the 3D. Let's spin this around. So like if you wanted to put a circle there, a hole here, go to plan view, get your circle tool. This it's going to show up, like if you wanted to pull that through. And we'll go ahead and spin this, go to pull. It's going to show up right there. So if you didn't want this one to be associated with that cylinder, you could go ahead and click on it, go no merge, and then go, it's not going to merge. So you could go ahead and pull this through. And then I guess it doesn't matter too much with the let's undo that. No merge. Okay, we got center, we have the pin, we have right side, left side, and the shaft. I guess it won't do it if you're cutting. It's just if you're adding something. So if we went and undid that and then said no merge and then pulled this, should be making another part. I don't know why it's not. Let's undo that. Okay, let's go over here and try this again. So we'll go click on that. We're going to go to pull, and then we're going to come over here and say no merge. So this should not merge. It should add it. It should add another part over here, but it doesn't seem to be doing that. Well, it looks like it didn't do it, but yeah, see, now it's all part of that shaft thing. That's kind of odd. I don't think there's a limit to how many parts you can have, so that's why it kind of doesn't make sense. You should be able to pull that. no merge. You know, it's still associating it with the shaft. Not really sure how you would do that if you wanted to add that or not. Maybe because it's part of that, it's not gonna let me do that. Maybe if you move it away from the shaft, like say we can move this out here, and then we go ahead and go to pull. Oh yeah, look at it, did. It made another surface down here. Okay, so you can't have it actually, so you have to actually move it apart. And then you would go ahead and pull, and then you come over here and say no merge. And then you would pull this, and then it makes another solid for you. And then what you could do is move that solid with grabbing the blue. You could just move it in there, or you could go up to here. Now you have this piece here, and each one of those pieces is individual. You have the shaft, you have the left side, right side, you have the pin, you have the center piece, and then you have the solid. Okay, that's going to end tutorial. That's going to end today's tutorial on how to use your no merge, and then how to rename your parts in the design. This is actually your structure tree. That's what they would call this. You have one of these in most of your all of your 3D designing CAD packages, like SolidWorks has a tree like this, a history, I guess you could call that. And then the nice part about that is you can get rid of stuff. You can turn stuff off. So if you were doing a really complex model and this pin was annoying you, you can go ahead and just uncheck it. Now it goes off. Like maybe you had to do some detailed stuff around this right here, and the pin was getting in your way, you could turn it off. Or if the shaft right there was getting in your way, you could turn that off. And then if you didn't want a part, you could delete it. Now, when you don't use the no merge, and this all becomes a part, what ends up happening is if you want to delete this, the whole thing's going to go away. So right now, if we didn't want this there, we could right mouse click on it and say delete, and that goes away, and it doesn't affect any of the other model. So this is really the best way to work. Obviously, if you're drawing something that doesn't have all these things, you don't have to use this method. You could just go ahead, if you're going to draw, or you're going to create a plate, and the plate just had corner holes and maybe some radiuses, then you don't have to worry about it. You can just go ahead and create your plate with the holes in it. But if your part is like this part here, and it has several different pieces on it that eventually you're going to end up having to move, or maybe it has a bolt over here that you want to relocate, this is the best way to do it, because you can have as many items over here as you need, and then it's easier to select them. Now, I'll show you an example here. Like if you drew a part over here and you didn't do that no merge, so say we're going to pull that part up there, and then we want to put another part on there, and we don't do the no merge, it's now one part. So to click on this piece here, if you try to double click, you're going to get everything. So if you're not using no merge and you're creating pieces like this, the only way that you can select them is to drag a marquee around them and hope that they get everything. But this method, you don't have to worry about that. You just come over there and click on the part, you got it. You got everything, that entire part. This, you can't do it. It already created a solid. So you can see this solid piece here, it's all the same. This, when you move around the part, shows you up here where you're going. So that's the left side. It shows you that this is the pan. It shows you that's the center shaft. It shows you that's the center part there. This is a better way to do it if you have multiple pieces. If you just have one piece, don't worry about creating this kind of system. Just go ahead and do the one piece. But if you have multiple pieces that you want to move around, use this method. Okay, that's going to end today's tutorial on how to use our merge no merge feature in Design Spark Mechanical. Hopefully you enjoy watching and you found this video useful.